So how have you navigated the change? Because you talk about it more than he does with changing to the new car. And you talk about the things that happen in the new car. Like, I think about the new car and I think, man, I hate the pedals. I couldn't stand the gas pedal. I didn't like the brake pedal. I didn't like the fact that I had to drive it in the corner so far. I think about all these things that I hated. And that transition and that relationship that you guys have, how did you guys navigate going from the old car to the new car? Because I felt like I had to redo some things. And you've openly talked about that. Does he point those out? Do you point those out? How did you guys zero in on, okay, we got to make some changes to do what different?
A lot.
A
lot different.
I was in that category.
And I just don't think people realize how much of a departure this car is from the last one, or even vehicles that you might race along the way, short track area, all the above. Like, you take all that stuff and it is just way different. How you make speed, how you be consistent, how you make tires last, etc. I think Alan has always been at the top of the class or right up there with whoever through different generations of crew chiefs.
For sure.
On knowing how to extract pace out of the cars, knowing what details in the car that he needs to be focused on, and making sure that every little piece of that thing is exactly the way it needs to be. I think this transition to the new car, he has learned a lot more about me and my driving style, because we've had to openly talk about a lot of things that we just might not have had to discuss in the last car, because we were making pace and
right.
When things were right, we could go fast. So, throughout the course of last season, I started challenging our guys, and Alan included. I just had to be super upfront and honest with them about the areas that I felt like I was not and still struggle with, but really not doing super well, so that they could get a better understanding of the driving side and how they could help me navigate some of that, because they sit there and look at the data every lap. They analyze it. Alan's watching SMT just like every other crew chief is. So I would love for you to ask him that question, but from my seat, I think that I have really opened the door for our group to just let them help me as much as possible and look at that stuff and know my deficiencies and kind of start to analyze some of the driver stuff probably more than he's had to do with other guys in the past.
So you think this is the most criticized you've ever been in your driving career? That's how I felt. I felt like I was criticized more in the last 2 years of driving the next gen car than at any point in my whole racing career. And I couldn't figure it out without them.
And I feel the same way. It's been a total team effort. I mean, seriously, it's been a total team effort, and it's taken me going in there and confessing areas that I know I've been deficient in, but we've been able to kind of work around. And I'm just like, hey, I've not done this well from day one, but we've got away with it. Or I've not done this right, but it's worked. And we've made it work at different points in time. So I start trying to point these things out, because as us, when you're in the driver's seat, you just see things different, and you can see the areas that you struggle in better than most. And I think some of that data makes a little more sense to us when you're in it and you see it and you live it firsthand. And some of that, even though they look at that data every day, might not make total sense. So yeah, I've opened the door and just said, hey, I know this is not where it's needed to be. And I feel like since I've pointed some of those things out, we've really expanded on them, and they've helped me not only analyze and fine tune, but find solutions. And then with their better knowledge of the car and my struggles, how do we build the setup and cars around that and make things more comfortable from that side too?
Do you think that your teammates help that or hurt that? Because I think there's a few different ways to make the car go.
Yeah.
There always has been, right? There's always different approaches, different feels, different things like that. And sometimes I felt certain teammates actually hurt me that ran fast because of the fact that they did it different. And I think that everybody's obviously different. So does that, when you have two teammates that are winning races and doing the things that they have done this year and last year, Does that help you or hurt you?
I think in the past, yes, I think there were more options to making pace on the racetrack with the old car and how you approach the corner, how you could get away with different setups, whereas in this vehicle in particular, I think there's really I only see one good way.
Yeah.
And those, you know, I think William and Kyle both do a really, really good job of driving the car that way because they drove the other car that way too.
Yeah.
And I think that became a very easy transition for them when we got to this point. So I think it has helped just because I don't see a lot of options. I see that being the way it needs to be done. I feel like I've tried every other option and it hasn't worked. And the more that I get in the direction that I think those guys push in, the better we are.
Yeah.
Hey race fans, thanks for watching our video. For all NASCAR on Fox News, content, and the best clips from Fox Sports, be sure to follow and subscribe to our channel.